ज्ञानाञ्जनः शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापद्मनः श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साधवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत श्री राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ब्रजभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 त्वं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So today we are going to begin with Isopanishad text 8. We have discussed first 7 verses of Shri Isopanishad and today we are starting with verse 8. Saparyagat Shukram Akayam Avranam Ashnaviram Shuddhamapapa Vidham Kabir Manisi Paribhu Swayambhu Yatha Tathyato Arthan Vyadadha Shashwatibhya Sammabhya. Such a person must actually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. But here is a description of the transcendental and eternal form of the absolute personality of God. The Supreme Lord is not formless. He has his own transcendental form, which is not at all similar to the forms of the mundane world. The forms of the living entity in this world are embodied in material nature, and they work like any material machine. The anatomy of a material body must have a mechanical construction with veins and so forth, but the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord are nothing like veins. It is clearly stated here, he is unembodied, which means that there is no difference between his body and his soul. Nor is he forced to accept a body according to the laws of nature as we are. In materially conditioned life, the soul is different from the gross embodiment and subtle mind. For the Supreme Lord, however, there is never any such difference between him and his body and mind. He is a complete whole, and his body, mind, and he himself are all one and the same. In the Brahma Samhita 5.1, there is a similar description of the Lord. He's described there as Satchit Ananda Vigraha, which means that he is the eternal form, fully representing transcendental existence, knowledge, and bliss. As such, it does not require a separate body or mind as we do in the material existence. The Vedic literature clearly states that the Lord's transcendental body is completely different from ours, and he is sometimes thus described as formless. This means that he has no form like ours, and that he is devoid of a form we can conceive of. In the Brahma Samhita 532, it is further stated that with each and every part of his body, he can do the work of the other senses. This means that the Lord can walk with his hands, accept things with his legs, see with his hands and feet, eat with his eyes, etc. In the Shruti mantras, it is also said that although the Lord has no hands and legs like ours, he has a different type of hands and legs by which he can accept all that we offer him and run faster than anyone. These points are confirmed in this eighth mantra through the use of the words Shukram, omnipotent. The large worshipable form Archa Vigraha, which is installed in temples by authorized acharyas who have realized the Lord in terms of mantra 7, is not different from the original form of the Lord. The Lord's original form is that of Sri Krishna, and Sri Krishna expands himself into unlimited number of forms such as Baladev, Rama, Narasimha, and Varaha. All of these forms are one and the same personality of Godhead. Similarly, the Alsha Vigraha worshipped in the temples is also an expanded form of the Lord. By worshipping the Alsha Vigraha, one can at once approach the Lord, who accepts the service of a devotee by his omnipotent energy. The Archa Vigraha of the Lord descends at the request of the Acharyas, the holy teachers, and works exactly in the original way of the Lord by virtue of the Lord's omnipotence. Foolish people who have no knowledge of Sri Isopanishad or any of the other Shruti mantras consider the Archa Vigraha, which is worshipped by pure devotees, to be made of material elements. This form may be seen as material, but the imperfect eyes of foolish people
प्रभु जी
are considered. Haribol.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी मैं ना कल ना थोड़ी जल्दी चली गई थी क्योंकि ना आज हम फंक्शन में जा रहे हैं इसलिए
Very good, very good. This form may be seen as material, but the imperfect eyes of the foolish people are the Kanishtacharis. But such people do not know that the Lord, being omnipotent and omniscient, can transform matter into spirit and spirit into matter as he desires. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.11 and 12, the Lord regrets the fallen condition of men with little knowledge, who deride him because he descends like a man in this world. Such poorly informed persons do not know the omnipotence of the Lord. Thus, the Lord does not manifest himself in full to the mental speculators. He cannot be appreciated. He can be appreciated only in proportion to one's surrender to Him. The fallen condition of the living entities is due entirely to forgetfulness of their relationship with God. This mantra, as well as in many other Vedic mantras, it is clearly stated that the Lord has been supplying goods to the living entities from time immemorial. A living being desires something, and the Lord supplies the object of that desire in proportion to one's qualification. If the man wants to be a high court judge, he must acquire not only the necessary qualifications, but also the consent of the authority who can award the title of the high court judge. The qualifications in themselves are insufficient for one to occupy the post. It must be awarded by some superior authority. Similarly, the Lord awards enjoyment to the living entities in proportion to their qualifications. But those qualifications in themselves are not sufficient to enable one to receive awards. The mercy of the Lord is also required. Ordinarily, the living being does not know what to ask from the Lord, nor which post to seek. When the living being comes to know his constitutional position, however, he asks to be accepted into the transcendental association of the Lord
प्रभु
in
जी
order to render a transcendental, Haribol, loving service unto them.
प्रभु जी
Unfortunately,
आप मुझे समझा सकते हैं मुझे समझ नहीं
की
आती
बातें ना इतने ने मैं कभी को फोन करते बना गुस्से भी करते बार बार प्रभु को फोन करते बना कि वो ऐसा बच्चा है बंदा है फोन करते हैं ये कॉल पर छोड़ है देखो छोटी छोटी बात तो मेरी तेरी अच्छी बातें कर देगी फिर मैंने एक बात थी को बताऊं
unfortunately, living beings under the
बात मैं
influence of
प्रभु को
material
फोन
nature ask for many other things. They are described in Bhagavad Gita 241 as having divided or splayed intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is one, but
मैंने
mundane
बताया
intelligence is diverse. In Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.30 and 31, it is stated that those who are captivated by the temporary beauties of the external energy forget the real aim of life, which is to go back to Godhead. Forgetting this, one tries to adjust things by various plans and programs, but this is like chewing what has already been chewed. Nonetheless, the Lord is so kind that He allows a forgetful living entity to continue in this way without interference. Thus, this mantra of Shri Isopanishad uses the very appropriate word yatha tatha yatha tatha yatha, indicating that the Lord rewards the living entities just in pursuance of their desires. If the living entity wants to go to hell, the Lord allows him to do so without interference. And if he wants to go back home, back to God, the Lord helps him. God is described here as Paribhu, the greatest of all. No one is greater than or equal to him. Other living beings are described here as beggars who ask goods from the Lord. The Lord supplies the things the living entities desire. If the entities were equal to the Lord in potency, if they were omnipotent and omniscient, there would be no question of their begging from the Lord, even for so called liberation. Real liberation means going back to Godhead. Liberation is conceived of by an impersonalist as a myth, and begging for sense gratification has to continue eternally unless the beggar comes to his spiritual senses and realizes his constitutional position. Only the Supreme Lord is self sufficient. When Lord Krishna appeared on earth 5,000 years ago, he displayed his full manifestation as the personality of Godhead through his various activities. In his childhood, he killed many powerful demons such as Aghasur, Bakasur, and Shaktasur, and there was no question of his having acquired such power through any extraneous endeavor. He lifted Govardhan Hill without ever practicing weightlifting. He danced with the gopis without social restriction and without reproach. Although the gopis approached him with a paramount feeling of love, the relationship between the gopis and Lord Krishna was worship. Even by Lord Chaitanya, he was a strict sannyasi and rigid follower of the disciplinary regulations. To confirm that the Lord is always pure and uncontaminated, Sri Ishopanishad describes him as Shuddham, antiseptic, and Apavavidham, prophylactic. He is antiseptic in the sense that even an impure thing can become purified just by touching him. The word prophylactic refers to the power of his association. As mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, the 9:30 and 31, a devotee may appear to be Sudurachar, not well behaved in the beginning. But he should be accepted as pure because he is on the right path. This is due to the prophylactic nature of the Lord's association. The Lord is also Papa with them because sin cannot touch him. Even if he acts in such a way that appears to be sinful, such actions are all good, for there is no question of his being affected by sin. Because in all circumstances he is Shuddha, most purified, is often compared to the sun. The sun extracts moisture from many untouchable places on the earth, yet it remains pure. In fact, it purifies obnoxious things by virtue of its sterilizing powers. If the sun, which is a material object, is so powerful, then we can hardly begin to imagine the purifying strength of the all powerful Supreme Lord. Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of God, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desires since time immemorial. This description about the transcendental form of the Lord is most essential to remove the clutter of haziness and misconceptions, or haziness in the form of misconceptions from our heart. This is how we are establishing sambandha with the spiritual plane, or this is how our consciousness, in one sense, or this is how, in the real sense, our consciousness is being transported to the spiritual plane because we are becoming aware of the spiritual reality. What is matter, what is spirit is not very easily understood. Some people see everything as matter, some people see everything as spirit. Some people say, okay, what is spiritual and prasad? It's just the same food. You put the food in front of the Lord during the bell and then take it out. It's the same thing. What has happened? Nothing has happened. But then there's some others who say that everything is spiritual. So why to make an offering only? We can just offer a little bit in fire of the burner, cooking burner. But they say even what is no, what that is required, the Lord will no, himself come and take it. Okay, take it, and he's taking it. So there are a lot of misconceptions about what is matter and what is spirit. Especially in Rajagun and Tamagun, this demarcation is very very hazy. So whereas in Rajagun, a person tries to do something spiritual but ends up doing it for the purpose of something material. The person chanting is thinking, oh, if I'm chanting, I should be the best chanter. Now people should say, "Arey, what chanting you've done? I should be the." If I'm doing DT backup, I should clean the DT base in such a way people come and ask, hey, who cleaned it? It should be best. It should be so clean that it is better than everything else, everybody else. So, see, this is passion. The person thinking is spiritual, but is using spiritual to derive material. Passion. A person in the mode of ignorance has no discrimination whatsoever also. So many times people think anything and everything is spiritual. They feel feeding cats is also spiritual. Somebody says watching film is also spiritual. How is spiritual? Now we are practicing how not to get affected. But if you want to get practiced how not to get affected, then better read Bhagavatam. Why watch a film? You say, no, no, no. You know, the sense object is there, but we're not getting agitated. Spiritual. So this is all nonsense. Uh, but you see the mood basically mar the demarcation between mental and spiritual. So people don't feel any difference. So then because and then now when there is no difference, there is no potential difference. So that means there is no motion. Motion will only happen when one can understand and exercise the difference. So this material plane, this spiritual plane, my consciousness is hooked to material plane. I need to elevate it to spiritual plane. But then when one doesn't understand what is spiritual plane at all, then where will you take our consciousness to? That is the point. Therefore, in the material world, everybody feels that I am okay. I am good. I'm good and okay. I'm all right. And that's why in the material world, everybody feels that I'm okay, I'm spiritual. See how it comes. So everybody has their own limits of, has their own interpretations of uh, reality because the spiritual reality is not well understood. Srila Prabhupada says, gives an example. Srila Prabhupada is saying in PKP it comes that honesty, everyone has his own definition of honesty. A thief may also think I'm honest. I have some principles by which I'm stealing. I'm honest. I have my own principles. How many people I'll approach for, no? And how I will divide what I receive, Okay, I give something to God also, and this much for God, this much for family, this much for further investments, whatever. I'm very honest. Somebody else thief may think that no, I don't pick the pocket, I don't cut their pockets, I don't cut their bank accounts. They themselves come and give me money because this fellow is bluffing. He creates such a bluff that people give him money. So they are giving money in my hand. So I'm not. I'm honest. You see, people have even a thief can think he's honest. Therefore, to understand everything and anything, we need the reference of the Shastras. So obviously in that discussion, Prabhupada is quoting, okay, honesty. If you want to know about honesty, then Prabhupada is quoting Isopanishad word. That is honesty. Honesty means ma agrida kasya siddhana. Do not encroach upon other people's rights. Ma agrida kasya siddhana. That's honesty. That everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Accepting this is honesty. Yeah, I may be given some quota which is allowed by the Lord, sanctioned by the Lord for me. I can use it carefully. But I should be very, very careful not to encroach upon other people's quota. So our needs are referred to the Shastras. Now, what is the spiritual plane? Shastras are mentioning. The Lord has a body, the Lord has a form. One will say, oh, form once again, but not a painful form. It's a very Sachidananda form. The Sachidananda form is a blissful form. The material form is a painful form. The Prabhupada is highlighting on the word unembodied. So embodiment is basically imprisonment. Is it not? Embodiment in itself is an entanglement because embodiment means imprisonment. And therefore, the soul is miserable in the material body because the body and the soul are completely immiscible. The body very limited. The soul has a nature to be unlimited, to be free. Therefore, the soul inside the body is a very painful situation for the soul. So the Lord has a form, but not a form like us. That form doesn't deteriorate. That form is full of knowledge. No extraneous endeavors are required. That form is full of bliss. So sometimes the Shastras give this example of a musketeer. Well, this musketeer is getting the fragrance of musk. The musketeer is thinking of where is this fragrance coming from, which part of the forest. So the musketeer is roaming around in the entire forest, searching from where the fragrance is coming from. But he's not able to locate because everywhere the fragrance is coming. So the musketeer, because the reference is the jungle, is not able to understand a very fundamental and simple aspect. He's simply roaming and foaming in the mouth in vain, in trying to find the source of the musk fragrance. Where is the musk? The musk is in his own body. Fragrance is coming from his own body. This fellow is searching here and there. So he's utterly miserable, not a simple, so he doesn't get it. And he is working very hard. In a similar way, the jiva keeps on roaming around the 14 planetary systems, searching for happiness. But the frame of reference is faulty. Happiness exists, but not in this frame of reference. No, there's no happiness in this creation. There's a lot of oceanic happiness in this creation. Where is it? It is there in the spiritual plane, not in the material plane. So Satchit Ananda itself has a great meaning for us. And this meaning is not well understood. Because Satchit Ananda, it basically means that this Ananda is an intrinsic property, characteristic property of the spiritual plane. As soon as one transports one's consciousness into the spiritual plane, nothing extraneous or nothing extra has to be done for the experience of Ananda. The experience of Ananda will automatically come, but on the spiritual plane, not on the material plane. So people are thinking, hey, I'm chanting Hare Krishna and I'm not ecstatic. Yeah, because you're not transporting yourself to the spiritual plane. One of the principles of bhakti is that the more dhila or diluted one performs bhakti, the more difficult it is. The more intense one performs, the easier it is. So where is the Ananda? The Ananda is not coming. One of the reasons can be diluted practice. The Ananda one is not able to hold on. So why we need to connect to Krishna? Because he is spiritual. Do we understand that the Supreme Lord is full of ocean of happiness? So that's why Chinathan Thakur is singing. He's saying, Nitai, tumi param sukhi, ami to dukhi, tumi, so I am miserable. And Lord Nityananda, you are the ocean of happiness. You make me please happy by offering the shelter of your lotus feet to me. So something we don't have, we have to find out where it is. And then we need to go there. That is the point. Maya Shakti has created illusory happiness in this world. What is so illusory happiness person can just imagine that he or she is happy. That kind of happiness is there in this world. Like suppose three people are sitting. One fellow is saying, "Okay, I am the Prime Minister of India," and he's feeling very nice, thinking like this. "Oh, I am the Prime Minister of India. Oh, I am the Prime Minister only of India." And the other two are telling, "Okay, so we salute to you, you know, uh, but you should accept us also, our point also." Then he's asking, "Okay, what is your point?" The other fellow is saying, "Oh, I am the President of the United States." And the other two are going down to him, "Oh, President of the United States." No, like that. And the third fellow is saying, "I am the Prime Minister of United Kingdoms." And then both of them are saluting him. So each one of them is feeling happiness. "Oh, I'm a very great man because I am like this." This illusion, is it not? So in this world, many times relationships they tolerate each other's. They simply sustain each other's. They simply, or you can say, concede with the other fellow's illusion because the other fellow reciprocates to that. And in this way, each one helps the other person remaining in a slumber of illusion. That's all. And the wife is telling the husband, "You're the greatest husband in the world." The husband is telling, "You're the greatest wife in the world." The child is telling, "You're the greatest daddy in the world." The daddy is telling, "You're the best child in the world." Who is best? That's the question. So you see, many times relationships are simply mutual agreements to to sustain and reinforce each other's illusion. That's all. That is why Prahlad Maharaj did not agree to this protocol. He did not agree to uh, sign on the contract of supplying or feeding each other's mutual illusion. And therefore, when Hiranyakashipu asked him, "What did you learn?" Hiranyakashipu was expecting that Prahlad will say, "I learned that you are the best of all the living entities. I learned that you are the greatest of all the living entities. I learned that you are the dot dot dot." Huh? Like that. And then he would have given him full marks, okay, A grade, 100%. But Prahlad did not agree, Prahlad Maharaj did not agree to sign on that illusory contract. And therefore Prahlad Maharaj said, yeah, Adanta Govir Vishitam Tamishram Puna Puna Charvita Charvana. Now, people like you are too attached to household life. There is no hope and scope for you. You are good for nothing. That's what he said. You're simply chewing the chewed, simply groping around in the darkness of ignorance. What you should do, Vanam Gato Yat Harimashrayeta. So what you should do, immediately leave this place, get out, go to the forest and take shelter of Lord Hari. But you won't be able to. You have to smear dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas all over your body. And then some hope and scope will be created for you. Oh, this was like an atom bomb for Hiranyakashipu. What a blow, what a punch. But Prahlad Maharaj was simply blowing up his illusion and bringing him to the reality of awakened consciousness. And that is why Hiranyakashipu became so inimical. He wanted to kill Prahlad Maharaj. He wanted to wipe off his existence. So relationships in this material world are simply mutual contracts to uh, to feed each other sense gratification. That's all. And that is why everyone perpetually remains and reinforces each other's slumber. So that is why this understanding of the spiritual plane and the spiritual reality is basically the awakening that yes, come out of your dream, wake up, wake up. Our material body is the source of all misery, but we are ourselves hooked on and no, embracing this body. So Maya Shakti is not binding us; we are only catching and latching onto her. That is the point. See, the modes of material nature, owing to lust, anger, greed, and all that, is basically like sitting down on a chair and then taking a rope and tying oneself with that rope. And then saying, oh, I'm tied up. I cannot help it. This is me. Who is tied? Person himself, herself. Nobody else is tied. Person himself or herself is tied oneself to the rope. And as one goes on doing sense gratification, one is tying oneself more and more and more. That's the point. And then one is bound. So one says, oh, now I'm bound, now I cannot move. Now I can only go in one direction sense gratification because I am tied up. I cannot move. So here the point to remember is that this tying is also done by us only. If the person ties himself or herself with rope, can he or himself or herself release himself also? With somebody else's binds, it will be difficult to leave it. But we ourselves do it, that means we can come out here also. Is it not? And especially so when the Supreme Lord's help is there. You see, we read when the living entity wants to do yatha tatha yatihi, yatha tatha yataha, that if somebody wants to do sinful activity, the Lord is not interfering. Lord is saying, okay, do it at your own risk. At your own risk, you can do it. But the living entity wants to come back to Krishna. Krishna helps him. See the difference? And that is why the Acharyas explain that the beginning of spiritual life is from the point that one becomes hopeless about the material world. Rastosmiham कृपणावत्सल दुस्साह उग्र संसार चक्र कदनाग्रस्तं प्रणीतम् पुरुषोत्तमते angry मूलम से. So this Prahlad Maharaj is saying that I'm very frustrated, I'm fed up with this material world. I'm going to take shelter of the lotus feet of Allah. करचरण सरोजे कांतिमन नेत्रमी क्षमा मुसि भुजा बिछि व्याकुले गदमार की हरि सरसी तेज जलाओ And he says, तेजो जलाओ भव मरु प्रखन्ना क्लेशमद्य त्यजामि भव मरु प्रखन्ना. I have become fed up, burnt, scorched in the heat of this material world. But now I'm going to give up all my miseries forever. How? I will enter the lake of Lord Hari, never to come out. So this is the qualification. Take up the spiritual life. Whose lotus eyes are like the fish, whose face is like the lotus in the lake, whose hands are like the ripples, waves that in that lake. Hari said the sea, the lake of cooling waters. And I'm going to enter it, never to come out. So this is the qualification. And this qualification or this eagerness or zeal can only come when one understands what is that spiritual tattva. And that is why the Lord is saying Janma Karma Divya. Even yo vitti tattvatah. Unless one gets very strongly rooted and remains fixed on the Sambandha Gyan, then the momentum for be there doesn't come about. So therefore, the Supreme Lord is unembodied. It is a different element altogether. Well, our element is a disintegrating element. The Lord's element is a different element. Then the next thing which has been spoken about is omnipotence of the Lord, Shukram. Now, Lord's omnipotence is a very hope-giving concept. The Lord omnipotence is why the hope-giving concept? Because as Srila Prabhupada is explaining, because Krishna now Srila Prabhupada is saying, okay, so the Lord is very mercifully coming in the form of Arsha Vigraha. And then Prabhupada is saying, okay, people should know this is matter and all that. But then Srila Prabhupada is saying that they don't realize that Krishna has the power to convert matter into spirit and spirit into matter on the spur of the moment. He has that power. He's omnipotent. That is the first. That is the aspect we have to remember. Omnipotent. This means what? This means that Krishna can change the situation in our lives in the flick of a second, anytime. If he's not doing it, so it is said that when so therefore actually we need to meditate. The Lord is omnipotent. The Lord can do anything at any time. Like Mother Rukmini, deliverance was impossible, but the Lord did it. How much it takes for the Lord to appear and disappear anywhere? It doesn't take anything. He is anyways Anda Antarastha Parama Anuchaya Antarastham. So he reveals at one place and doesn't takes off my the Maya's curtain. Another place the curtain is there. Lord can do it. Understanding and meditating on this aspect of the Lord, a devotee is filled with hope. And a devotee understands that okay, even if it is a tribulating situation, in a moment the Lord can change situation. If He's not changing means He's expecting us to behave properly. The Lord is testing us. Okay, is this devotee really interested in me? Is he ready to pay any price or not? Or is he just coming to me for business and exploitation? So that is why a devotee does not get so much disturbed by a situation that one leaves only Krishna conscious practices. No, the devotee says, okay, there's problems, there's suffering, no problem. The point is that within a moment the Lord can take it off. He's not taking it off, he's testing me. That is this fellow really loving me or not? Because love is unconditional. And then it is said that Krishna does not interfere in our material affairs. He is facilitating. But when we want to go to him, he becomes very active. So the Lord can intervene and interfere to the degree we allow him to do so. And then it is being described, Shuddha Mapapa Viddhan. The Lord is antiseptic. So he takes away all the sins. Jesus Prabhupada is saying the Lord is compared to the sun, the antiseptic. See, this, because the Lord is antiseptic, therefore in bhakti everyone is allowed. So one will get purified. Therefore, the Lord is telling anybody can come. Artharthi Jnani, anybody can come, get purified. So one may not have pure motivation, but by the practice of bhakti and the touch of the Lord, the motivations get purified. Shuddham. You see, the Lord is Shuddham. So the Shastras give the example in the story of that thief who heard about Krishna's opulence and he got so captivated. He thought, oh, I'll go to Vrindavan and steal the jewelry on Krishna's body. He was so much meditating on Lord Krishna. He was so absorbed in that meditation, he came to love. And he got darshan of the Lord. They got darshan of the Lord, he got purified. Is it not? Similarly, Dhruva Maharaj getting purified. O Lord, I was searching for broken pieces of glasses. You have given me a diamond. By your presence, by your darshan, by your service. Vishuddham. Apapa Vigdam. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that this Apapa Vigdam is in terms of the power of association of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam that Bhagavatam has this potency. And Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. But Bhagavatam has the potency to convert a crude man into a pure devotee by the power of association. And therefore that the love of God is engendered simply by Shravana. साध्य का बुनाए श्रवणादि शुद्ध चित्ते करिए उदाय कृष्ण प्रेम नित्य सिद्ध that is the verse नित्य सिद्ध कृष्ण प्रेम साध्य का बुनाए श्रवणादि शुद्ध चित्ते करिए उदाय नित्य सिद्ध कृष्ण प्रेम so Krishna prema is eternal heritage of every living entity but it has to be awakened how shravanadi shuddha chitte kariye uday by Shravan Adi, simply by the Shravan, by the presence of the Lord, the touch of the Lord, that purify. Just like that Ahilya was a stone, by the touch of the Lord Ramachandra was so to sweet, she immediately came out alive. Similarly, we are also stoned. Entanglement is like getting stoned and frozen. It's like stoned and frozen. Like that. The touch of Krishna consciousness immediately we get awakened. No? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explained that when we are doing service to Krishna, at that time we are beyond the modes. But when we leave the service, we come back in the modes. The Lord is profile active. So the touch of the Supreme Lord is all purifying. Touch of the Lord, all purifying. And then it says further, child see, the self-sufficient philosopher has explained that self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desires. उपदिष्टानुमन्ता च भर्तार्भुक्ता स्थावृतः उदासीनवदासीनम्. The Lord is self-satisfied. The Lord doesn't need anything. तस्मादहं विगतविक्लव ईश्वरस्य सर्वात्मै मयि गृह्णामि यथा मनीषी. यच्चात्मनि प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुक्तिश्री. So therefore, the Prahlad Maharaj explained the Lord doesn't need anything, he is an ocean. But when we endeavor to make an offering to Krishna, we get purified in the process. That is the point. And then it is said that although the Supreme Lord is self-satisfied, but it is his business is to look for the welfare, the endeavor for the welfare of every living entity. Therefore, it is described Suhridam Sarva Bhutana. So, so this aspect or this understanding which is being described here is primarily reinstating our sambandha. So reinstating our sambandha gyan, that is the point. So, so this sambandha, so this meditation is very essential for the sadhaka to embark upon time to time. Because it is only this meditation which can give us that kick and zeal to go towards Krishna. Sorry. Like if you understand that this something that this food item what is kept, it is poison, we will not take it. Is it not? But if one thinks, oh, this sweet, we'll just gobble it up. Is it not? So all these material illusions, they reveal the poison of this material world as something very glorious. Don't succumb to the poison of this material world. And therefore, one has to meditate. One has to remind oneself of the transcendental nature of the Lord's form and the Lord's activities. Then one will understand, oh, this is what I want. I want Krishna. I don't want to invest in the nonsense material world. It simply runs an illusion, fooling around. People think I'm very expert in fooling around everyone else, and that's what people think. And this is one skill which they try to expertise whole life. They are fooled. A person is fooled in the first place, and he is thinking I am fooling others and making good out of them. So in the very foundation, the person himself is fooled. Asatya asatya ko imani. So asatya asatya ko imani. Just like there is a madman, and this madman is going to everybody's home and collecting garbage. Yeah? And this person is fluffing around in the garbage with great pride that okay, I have so much garbage. He's thinking garbage is good. So, what a foolish, mad proposal. In the same way, we think that these material assets have some value. We keep running after it throughout life, simply collecting the garbage uh, from here, there, everywhere, roaming around various countries, various planets, and so on. Hare Krishna. So let's stop here for today. Hari Bol. Shri Upanishad ki jai, Shripad ki jai. Hari Bol. Okay, then we continue Shri Upanishad tomorrow and day after also. Tomorrow and day after also. We'll continue. Saturday, we have to see, but at least tomorrow we will continue. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.